The DS Lite X Fly 5 is one of my favorite football boots of all time because of how it fits, how it performs on pitch, and its very, very simple design. And in this blue colorway, it's really hard to beat. They've now updated it to an X Fly 6, which is in this box. And in today's video, we're going to talk all about the tech specs, what they've updated, what they've kept the same, and of course, how it performs on pitch. Let's rock and roll. Very, very stereotypical Asics box. They use these boxes for their running shoes as well, which I'm a huge fan of, but their football boots get the same treatment. Big Asics logo here on the front of the box with some Asics logo and branding. Here is the sizing. So very, very similar, as you would know with the free size guide link down below in the description. I wear a half a size down in my US sizing, so an 8.5 US instead of a 9 with the X Fly 5. I went with the same sizing here just because I felt like it would be pretty off-brand for me to try a different size. 26.5 centimeters, which is a Euro 42 and a US 8.5. Now, a huge thank you to Tokyo Football for sending these out to me. This is an awesome review. I'm very, very excited for these as well, so go check them out. I have always recommended them for Mizuno and Asics products that you can only get in Japan. All right, here we go. So, ooh, nice. This is not an Asics product, but little string bag there. Very cool, exciting. And here we go. Ooh, yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Silky wrap for the win. These are really nice looking. I like this kind of orangey red colorway. Interesting. Some new laces as well. And new tongue, which we'll talk about. Same sole plate, love that. Okay, so the DS Lite X Fly 6 in typical Asics and really Mizuno fashion, really all Japanese brands, if you will. I'm actually gonna take this out just so that it's not in the way. In typical fashion, the differences between these two are gonna be very, very subtle, but we will get through all of them in this video. Very typical for Japanese brands to do slow upgrades over time. We see that with the Alpha 2 coming out compared to the Alpha 1, very, very similar from the Mizuno brand. We saw the new Morelia 2 very recently in that ruby red. You can check out my initial review and playtest of that boot. It's excellent, but it remains pretty much unchanged from the previous generation. The X Fly Pro 2 to the X Fly Pro 3, which introduces silky wrap, same material that's on the forefoot and midfoot of this boot as well. And then, of course, with this one, which we've gone from the X Fly 5 regular edition with the K leather here in the forefoot and basically the precursor to silky wrap back in this midfoot area to a full silky wrap upper, which mimics K leather in so many ways. It feels ridiculous that this is not leather. In fact, I would argue that most people, if they were to close their eyes and you were to hand them an X Fly 6 or an X Fly Pro 3 and you ask them what material it was, they would go, yeah, leather. Given how soft it is, probably K leather. That's how crazy soft this is. So some really interesting changes that they've made to this, including the way that the stitching works as well. So we'll get into that also. Let's start off with the sole plate. Now the sole plate remains completely unchanged from the previous generation. It is the same sort of three-leaf clover type stud pattern, if you will. So it's essentially a conical stud, and then they've made 3 of these little grooves on 3 of the sides in a symmetrical pattern so that you have a little bit more aggressiveness when you're pivoting back and forth. So when you've put your foot in the ground and you try to pivot like this way, but it gives you a lot of rotational energy ability as well. So as you move through the pitch, you turn and stuff, it's not gonna catch like a chevron stud or a bladed stud potentially would, or the star-shaped studs like the old Vapor 15s had. This is then also built in with the external heel counter, which is really nice, which leaves this heel to be super, super soft and pliable. This, in my opinion, the X Fly 5 has been my favorite heel area of all time. This is the X Fly 5 here has gone through a lot of wear and tear, and this material is still in epic condition, and I love the way it's shaped. It's got a ton of flexibility, so it just feels comfortable, and this very much takes on that same DNA. Now, in terms of the lacing system area, so number one, we have slightly different laces. You have more of a technical material or a little bit tighter weave down at the bottom of the lacing. Then you have a little bit more kind of this open weave cotton material at the very top. And if we open these up a little bit, one of the things that I love about the Asics boots is that they have really wide and really deep lacing system. And so you get, no matter where you are in terms of width across the entirety of the boot, you're going to get a ton of adjustability in all of the different areas. And then they've got this sort of zigzag pattern, which gives you an even better lock around your foot. Now, two of the things that they've changed about this are the actual laces themselves, and then they've actually put a piece of padding. If you can see that, there's some little padding here on the top of the lace area. That, I presume, is to remove a little bit of the lace bite and then also give you just a little bit of padding towards the top of that ankle area, sort of an area of the boot which you're not going to touch the ball with all that often, but it will really help in terms of any lace bite that gets in that particular area, specifically if you use the runner's knot, which I am a huge fan of in general. I don't usually have to wear it because this boot fits me so well, or the X-Fly 5 does, but it is there for those players who want it. So that's really nice. One of the other things that Asics does really well is they put 4 little slits here on the tongue itself. So once you tie the laces tight, this tongue literally goes nowhere. It doesn't slide back and forth. It doesn't make any weird movements because 2 rows of laces have to cross through them on both sides. And so that's just, it's such a minor design thing, but literally every single consulting client I've had, who I unfortunately can't tell you who they are, I have told them this is the gold standard. And genuinely, that's how I feel. This is very much the gold standard. If you can do 2, great. If you can do 4, like Asics does, God tier. God tier immediately. Now let's move on to the upper. And the upper is really the star of the show here. This silky wrap material is absolutely sensational in my opinion. Now, if you look at the difference in where the stitching pattern ends, so if we put the boots kind of side by side like this, and then we turn them on the side, you can see where the stitching pattern goes all the way back here, and it's a little bit more of a gradual slope, so you get more of that kind of padded leather-like material, whereas the leather here on the X-Fly 5, and interestingly enough, the X-Fly 5 Special Edition, which we'll talk about in a second, doesn't go as deep, and then there's just more material all the way on this side as well. You can really see it on the medial side as well. It goes all the way down to the very middle of the midfoot, whereas if that matched up, the leather would have gone all the way to here. Instead, the leather is just kind of right in that forefoot area. So you do get a lot more, it feels like, in terms of when this is flat on the top of your foot, the stuff that actually contacts the ball is going to be all of this really nice plush padded silky wrap material. So I'm going to guess they're going to feel just as good, if not even better potentially, than the standard K-leather model, particularly just because there's more thought to this sort of midfoot, almost bleeding into the midfoot area here on the medial and the lateral side. The interesting thing about this particular model is the special edition color, which I, for whatever reason, have misplaced. I had it, and it's the white and pink ones, and I think they're on the other side of this boot wall. I think I put them over there for some weird reason, but needless to say, the white and pink ones, which I reviewed, are the special edition of the X-Fly 5. Now, those ones in that forefoot area had a synthetic leather that felt very leather-like, but it felt a lot more like a calfskin leather, almost like the Copa Icon 2. Little bit tougher, if you will, not stiff necessarily, but it was a little bit more robust than the softness of the K leather in this particular model. This one it's sort of a hybrid of the two, but it's softer than all of the X-Fly 5s, regardless of K leather or synthetic. It's incredibly soft, and it reminds me a lot, I mean, it's the same material as X-Fly Pro 3, so that's a great thing. In terms of comparison between X-Fly Pro 3 and X-Fly 6, this one is technically it's still the top end football boot, just like the X-Fly Pro 3 is, but the Pro 3 is kind of the most technologically advanced boot that they have right now because of the fact that it has a different sole plate. It's a little bit more, it's got that like cored out area with that felt kind of material, and it's super, super lightweight, and it's got a slightly different shape to it, whereas this one is more of the Morelia Neo 4 competitor in terms of it's a very similar look, it's a very similar simplistic feel, not too much BS going on in the sole plate, and overall it's an excellent, excellent product. I'm very excited to try these on. So without further ado, let's jump into the on-feet portion. We'll go over for obviously fit and sizing. Now, if we put these side to side, if I go like this and we turn them like that, you can see the sizing is basically the same. This one looks a little bit bigger, but that also could be because it's white, and white tends to make things look larger. Darker colors make things look slimmer. That's why people will often wear all black. As I sit here with all black on, all of this, I don't really care how you feel I look on, it doesn't matter. Anyway, point being, white often makes it look a little bit larger. If you have white sneakers on, you look like you have big feet. Clown shoes is a great example. So I'm gonna guess these are the exact same size. Yeah, I think they're the exact same size. They look almost identical. So very exciting. Let's jump on feet and get into how these perform on pitch. Ooh, actually, one more thing that I forgot to mention, which I just realized. So on the instep here, you had a very, very smooth material, and then the moist tech over the top, which was their essentially weather repellent material, you could argue. So just a synthetic leather and a moist tech, doesn't add any sort of texturing. They have gone for a little bit of silicone grip elements, which are actually pretty substantial. Like they're pretty sticky here on the instep. So I'm interested to see if this turns into something that actually enhances performance as opposed to something like this in any meaningful way. My guess is it doesn't, but just in terms of just really nice crisp passing, it might add that little bit of extra punch and control. So now let's jump on pitch and try out what probably will be one of my boots of the year. All right, ladies and gentlemen, out on the pitch with the absolutely sensational, well, I'm assuming these are going to be absolutely sensational, Asics DS Lite X Fly 6. They are, oh, hello, I'll pick that up in a minute. These are iteration of one of my favorite boots of all time, just because the DS Lite X Fly 5 was so comfortable, so accommodating, and just did everything magic. Remember that I am wearing an 8.5 US as opposed to a 9 US because the fit and the length of the 8.5 is perfect. Wow. This silky wrap material is fantastic. To be honest, I don't even notice that it's there compared to the K leather. There may be a difference once I get the boots worn in and really, really tested. But at the end of the day, this is a boot that is just so stupidly comfortable. The shape is brilliant. The fit is brilliant. The stud pattern is perfect. The heel area is the best of any boot ever. And they just have, I mean, like what else? I don't know. Something about this boot for me, even over the Mizuno Morelia Neo 4 Beta, which theoretically is a more premium product, you could argue, because it's got that amazing like premium K leather from Mizuno, but these are just something different. There's something about the shaping and the way that Asics has a focus on ergonomics that I really, really appreciate. And you find that with a lot of the Australian market Asics boots, like the Testimonial, the Lethal Testimonial, the Swift Strike, and even the new Menace are very, very anatomical in the way that they fit. And that just has, it makes you feel good. It's like, it just makes your feet really happy. These are light, they spring you forward, and they are absolutely brilliant. So here we go. Let's get starting to move. Now, a lot of the movement patterns that I'll be doing, I'm gonna imagine that these are gonna fit almost identically over time to the X Fly 5 and the X Fly 5 Special Edition, which were essentially the precursor to this because they were synthetic leather. So I'm hopeful that something like this is gonna just be, you know, over time, absolutely epic and fun to wear. All right, we're just gonna do a little bit of alternating sides on this one, pass it against this rebounder, which is set up at an angle, so it'll pop back up, and just kind of get a sense of what these are like to a little bit of a shooting warm up, which will be nice. Touch is lovely. Oh man, see that silky wrap? It has almost this little bit of like grip texture to it. And I love that because as I'm, you know, I play, have a good touch, and I come around here and it's just like that is so easy to sort of just like caress the ball almost into that spinning motion, which I absolutely love. It's like one of those, it's here and it's just like, it's just effort, like that feels so effortless. And obviously like there's technique involved in it, but it's like, oh man, like it just, striking the ball with this football boot is an absolute joy for obvious reasons. All right, here we go. A little left foot lacers, try to get these in. If I'm just juggling the ball here, and I'll do it on camera so you guys can actually see, this touch with this boot is absolutely unbelievable. One of the updates that they, if I can control the freaking ball, one of the updates that they made to this boot are actually in the tongue. They've added a tiny bit of padding across the top of the foot here so that you don't get any lace bite at all. It doesn't add any weight to the boot, it doesn't add any bulk, but man, it just adds that little bit of extra plushness as you're getting kind of that feel, and as you're sort of tying the laces as tight as you can, it really holds your foot into the heel of the boot, and then also allows for less lace bite, which means you just get this more kind of organic feel on the ball, which is absolutely wonderful to play in. Oh, caught that a little bit under my feet, so a little bit further out, and then we're good to go, I reckon. Man, yeah, these are probably gonna be close to, if not boot of the year for me, because I just love how they fit and feel. Here, let's do one more there. I just think these fit so incredibly well. They've got such an anatomical shape to them. They fit my foot, and the major comparison that you guys are probably here for is number one, Morelia Neo 4, which I've already mentioned. I think I like, well, I know I like these better, but is also the X-Fly Pro 3, which is supposedly the more technologically advanced sibling of this one. I like these better because they're just more simple. There's less kind of, it's not awkward underfoot, but these ones have just like a very consistent underfoot feel, whereas the X-Fly Pro 3 just feels a little bit less like dialed in, if you will. Maybe it's just because it's overcomplicated. That boot is excellent, no doubt. I just think the shape and just the general like silo and look of this boot, can't beat it, can't beat it. All right, guys, a little bit of a fun little curler. This can be a great drill for shooting and or crossing. So we're just literally taking a touch, pop out, and bend. If I don't hit the ground, I'll grab another one. We'll do 3 in a row. But that's the idea, is you just get that little bit of technique work, touch, and bend in that far corner. God, these are so comfortable, and they're already broken in. Half a size down is definitely the way I would go. Speaking of the X-Fly Pro 3, like I mentioned earlier, that is a boot that I would and probably should have gone half a size down in, just because it does fit. The Asics boots fit a little bit on the long side. Yeah, on the long side. So I would go half a size down, even if you have wide feet like me, and your toes are gonna be a little crunched right at the beginning, but that's okay, because this is a boot that, you know, the silky wrap will definitely break in after, you know, 20 minutes, 30 minutes of playtime, and they feel just absolutely effortless. And there we go, nice, love that. Just very, very effortless to play in. Let's grab some free kicks. All right, ladies and gents, 4 free kicks, 2 at the left, 2 at the right. Let's see if we can't just nice and easy get these into top bins. God, I love these boots so much. I actually wore these, the precursor to these, in a couple of training sessions and games. I'm gonna go 1-1-2-2. And man, these are absolutely sensational to play a game in. They're sensational to play a training session in. Let's see if I can get this dip and swerve action going. Oh yeah, see you later. Hey, if you're an NFL coach, I'm pretty good at field goals. All right, here we go. Last 2. I actually might try to go far post for this one. See if I can't wrap it into the top bins here. Oh, that's the idea though, that's the technique. All right, last one. DS Lite, X-Fly 6 for the win. Here we go. Oh, yes. Well, I hit a couple top bins before, so that's fine. Let's hop into the conclusion. These are absolutely excellent. I don't know what else to say about them. In terms of playing, everything is brilliant. I am so wildly, wildly impressed with this football boot. All right, guys, wrapping up today's review and playtest of the Asics DS Lite X-Fly 6. These are absolutely sensational, and I can almost guarantee you that if I was gonna put out a video later this year on the best boots of 2025, these would be in the top 3. They are that damn good. If you guys are interested, as I mentioned before, this is a huge thanks to Tokyo Football for sending these out to me. If you guys are interested in a pair of these, definitely go check Tokyo Football out. They do worldwide shipping and everything for a very reasonable price. I think these are absolutely excellent. Do I notice the fact that they don't have leather anymore? Honest to God, no. The silky wrap is absolutely phenomenal, and the fact that it now is basically an entire silky wrap upper means that this boot has all of the softness of the best K leather on the market, but it's synthetic, and it just, sure, it's maybe cheaper to produce and whatever. We will see over time if this material actually holds up like K leather does, just like the other versions of the X-Fly series that have had K-leather, but this is a sensational pair of football boots. I think the sole plate is perfect for me. I love the stud pattern, the ability for it to flex a little bit, but it feels so ergonomic. It obviously performs excellently well. It's got a great amount of kind of this matte, waxy how would you say, finish, I guess, to it. And so as you're kind of bending the ball, like I was mentioning earlier, as you put a ball up against here and then kind of whip around, it feels perfect on feet. It just gives you that extra little bit of something. And then the padding that they've added to the inside of the tongue here is perfect. It's not overkill, and they've just done enough for it to feel beautiful on feet. The heel area is the best of any boot on the market outside of maybe the new Morelia 2, and this is still king. This is still the best. External heel counter works great, and overall, it's not a fancy product, but man, they have nailed this, and this is by far one of my favorite boots of all time. This is really, 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 really good. I cannot overstate how excellent this boot is. The one thing that I do want to mention is these little silicone grip elements on the inside of the boot during sort of in that passing area. I barely notice it. They're really not that noticeable. Maybe in super wet conditions, if you're perfectly passing it with the inside of your foot, you'd maybe notice that area here, but I think it's more of an aesthetic thing. It makes it look a little bit more sort of upgraded control boot style, which is totally fine. I don't mind that at all. But overall, Adidas Lite X Fly 6, it's my favorite Asics product. It's probably top 3 for me on the market right now, period, of any boot, and it is utterly incredible. Hope you guys enjoyed that video. As always, be awesome. Take care. See you guys in the next video.